my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the comic collector geek, and I'm joined with Steven, and it's the Monday special where we basically show our books and talk about stuff.
Like you do.
Yep, like we do. So that's pretty much it. That's the show. Bye.
See you later. Bye. Like,
So yeah, I don't know. Um, I'm going to show a bit of a preview for the unboxing. I took out all the
sure.
monster books because I took the monster books that I'm going to be showing in my new latest unboxing thing.
Okay.
Um, um, so yeah, it's going to be monster related theme today. I
Fair
think you're
enough.
going to show Tales to Astonish. What's the big one that
I
one?
I will I will show a
All
lot.
the monster ones. All the monster
Well,
ones.
the ones
Crazy
that I
ones.
got, the ones that I have,
You
I'm
just picked up a bunch. You picked up 20, you said?
uh, I think altogether I've got 3 dozen, including the pinnacle monsters. So I have 3 dozen to show.
So if you guys like monsters, you've come to the right place. We're going to show a whole
Yes,
bunch of monsters.
we are comic monsters today.
Yeah.
I have some interesting thoughts that I would like to share with you as well, our
Oh,
collecting
okay.
people. How is our chat?
I'll say hi to them in a minute. They can wait. I want to hear your
Okay.
interesting thoughts
All
first.
right. All right. Go ahead. Now you had something to say then, or do you want? What
No,
do you
no,
want
no.
to
You
do?
said you had interesting thoughts. I was waiting for your
Fair enough.
interesting
Well,
thoughts.
I was going to do that as I'm showing the covers. I was going to
Oh,
explain as
oh,
I go.
okay. Yeah, okay. So what I'll do then is say hi to the chat. I thought you were going to say something like profound. You were going to like say the meaning of life, and then I was going to delete this video after you said that because
Very good. Very
just
good.
like you
It's the
like
kind of friend I have.
Matt was the guy that kind of inspired that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Steven
I
says a
know.
lot of cool
I'll
stuff,
tell
and you
you,
delete the
Mr.
video.
Mr. Matt sure showed me. I gave my heart and soul. I actually bled. I shed blood to actually help for this. It was the greatest. He said it is one of the best streams he ever had. And
I
then
heard it
once
was the best ever. Like not just on his
it might
channel,
have
but
been the
ever,
best
ever
ever,
stream.
never to
Like
be seen again. Never to be
yeah,
seen.
yeah, I heard that. So yeah,
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it too.
and Matt was first, by the way, and K-Munin
Hi, Andreas.
and JSS,
JSS,
JX,
Big JX,
Last Frontier
Last
Comics,
Frontier.
Brian.
Ryan,
Oh wait, I hit the wrong button.
Mark,
Mark, Steve,
Steve,
and Fiddle Chips,
Fiddle.
and Susie.
Hi, Sue.
Yeah, see, Fiddle Chips agrees. It was blasphemy.
Blasphemy, blasphemy. It was only the best work I've ever done, ever. And Matt was going, boy, when we turned it when we were through, he says, "Oh man, that's gonna really do great.
I,
I'm so excited. I couldn't thank you enough." And so what he did was then he killed me.
I actually heard that while the stream was playing, there was, angels singing. There was doves
Oh,
flying by.
the choral group, the angels above.
Yes.
It was music. It was absolute music. For the few
Hmm.
people that saw it,
Hmm. Their
the
lives were
lights.
changed for the
I
better
mean,
forever.
only those, the light, the fog cleared, and then it was all
Hmm.
clear to them. In terms of the Legion of Superheroes,
So Matt's like,
enough. Oh no, Matt. Oh no, 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 no. I got miles left to go on that one for you, my friend.
so yeah, Matt's a great guy, but oh well, we're
We're going to
big
start
head over
calling him
that.
Thumbs Atkinson.
Hmm. Oh yes, that all true story about the live stream.
Women tore their clothes. No, I can't believe it.
if they
Oh
if they if they knew where to throw their bras, they would have been throwing their bras at the screen.
no. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. A la Tom Jones, although he got other
Right.
portions of the anatomy.
So what happened that to get the live stream? Believe
Matt Atkinson is very gifted and talented man. He's brilliant. He knows the product very well.
he's
However,
a technical savant, isn't he?
he is a technical savant, but I think he's the tack he's taking right now is, "Oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake." Of course, I don't believe him. I just think he looked at it and then decided it was too much for people to absorb. It was just the awesomeness of it.
Well,
And I'd like to
from
thank
what
you again, Matt, for all that.
from what I heard, actually, there is a case to be made because if you watch that live stream, it's all downhill. Like, what do you have to live for if you've
Well,
seen
that's
that stream,
true.
right?
That's
Yeah. So
very true. I'm
yeah.
gonna do my level best to match this, and for God's sakes, don't delete this.
Well, if you tell the meaning of life, it's totally getting
All
deleted.
right.
So people watching, you got to
The
enjoy
meaning of
this
life
right
is
now.
comic books. The meaning of life is comic books. That's it.
Yeah.
I have on display behind me now. I
Hmm.
have these four are the last four of the fancy Last Ronin books.
I see.
I will
Is
be
that
showing.
Venom what, number 3 back there?
Yes, and I have I have the first Null, I guess.
Yeah, that's Venom 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also have the signed Art Adams Scarlet Witch, which is a big book.
Hmm.
And then also I have Great Comics number 2, the homage that gives you almost the entire cover, where they reprinted with When Hitler Goes to Hell.
Oh wow,
Yeah, it's
that's
a
really
cool
cool.
book. Bleecker has one for sale right now. I already had a copy. So I would like to start today. Um, when I was doing my research on the Incredible Hulk, I had the Hulk one for quite some time. And then, matter of fact, I think 2014 when I invested in the Hulk because it was AF-15, the Hulk, and Showcase 4, and I had to pick two. I only had the coin for two, and my heart wanted Showcase 4, but my head told me no. We're going to go AF-15, and we're going to go Hulk 1, which is what I did. And recently, a dealer, Ali Collectibles, on Instagram, uh, made an offer for Hulk number 2, and it was an incredible deal. It was a heritage auction book of that was $5,250, and I got it for 3650. And then
Not
that
bad.
started me, and there are only 6 copies. I'm still missing one. I'm missing issue number 4, but I got a line on one coming up pretty quick. That I basically filled in, fortunately, favorably, or fairly, I should say. And down from their peaks, which is very nice to buy when they're on the down. But then I started to reflect, and I had just a few when I talk about Marvel and I talk about monsters. The pre-hero Marvel monster books are a whole genre unto themselves. And at the time this was going on, from the 10-cent Marvels that came, and the last 10 center was the first Fantastic Four number 1. And so they sort of the all the way up for the 10-cent thing was pretty much Marvel Monsters and the Good Girl teen romance books that they had a plethora of, all which is wonderful stuff. But evidently it didn't pay the bills. And Marvel was against it. And then when the Fantastic Four came, why then the firmament changed, and off we went. I would like to point out that the Marvel Monsters, um, even though the Marvel Monsters basically kind of crashed and burned, with a Fantastic Four, there is a monster in the Fantastic Four, and it's the Thing. So they actually brought one of the Marvel monsters that they had to put into the Fantastic Four. So the Marvel monster thing was sort of they never really went away, but they basically had to find other things to make money. But they loved their Marvel monsters, and a lot of these I'll show my first one here is Journey into Mystery, and it's Gruto, the creature from nowhere.
So what issue number is that?
This is Journey into Mystery number 67 from April. It's a 10 center, probably 1959 or 1960. What was the strange secret of Gruto? He looks sort of like a pig with, and a lot of times he only have 3 fingers.
Yeah, that's a monster thing.
These are anthology books at this time. Journey into Mystery, Strange Tales, Tales of Suspense, and Tales to Astonish are all anthology books. You get 3 or 4 stories. Generally, it's 3, and then ads and promotional stuff. And the 3 stories would feature, um, usually would have a Steve Ditko story, a Jack Kirby story, and then it would be either Dick Ayers or what's his nuts, Larry Lieber, which was my
Mhm.
least favorite. He actually did a lot of the scripts. Stan would come up with the plots, and his brother Larry, not his other brother Larry, his brother Larry would do the scripting. And so, and finally, he is getting some credit. Larry Lieber is getting credit for he did have a was an instrumental part of it, but his artwork, he was a good his as an artist, he was a good writer, is what I will say. I always, if I saw him,
He is
I
art
every
for
time
radio, basically.
every time I saw Lieber as the third story, it was like a quick flash through and what have you. When I was young, it was in the fourth grade, third grade going into fourth grade. Um, I had to learn the value of the dollar, and I would deliver newspapers, the Oregon Journal. And after school, I would pick up my papers and I'd fold them into tomahawks. If you're a paper guy, you know how you do it. And then you could then throw them up onto their porch, and then they just pull the tab, and the paper just would unfold. Um, so one of the guys, what they would do is they would take us to places to solicit for the journal. And one of the guys was an elder teenager who was working there at the station. Station 41 was mine. And he was an older guy, and he had comic books. And he says, "Look, if you do this, I'll give you some comic books, some of my old comic books." And of course, my eyes lit up. I said, "Sure, where do I have to go? What do I have to do? Who do I have to kill?"
Yeah, exactly.
And so his name was Galucci. I'll never forget it. And so then if you got a half a dozen subscriptions and stuff, then you got to get a prize or something. And he gave me some books. They were all beaters, but they were early Marvels, and I think there were a couple Marvel monsters in there. And
Oh,
because
okay.
they were something I couldn't get, well, Mom threw those away, so you don't have to worry. They hardly were surviving as when I got them, but they were old and they were rare and they were unusual and something you never saw, and they were just great. And so I always had an affection for the Marvel monsters. So here is Journey into Mystery 67 with Gruto. Here is Journey into Mystery number 78. And this is the Sorcerer. I think that Alan and I are twinsies on this one. Um,
Oh,
Hello,
yeah.
Big Lyle.
Here, I'll do the twinsies thing if you want.
Sure, why not?
1 sec here. I'm gonna grab it. I just buried it. 1 sec here. There we go. Mine's a little bit rougher.
What you need to do is get some nice bags, Alan.
Yeah, this is a terrible bag. I'll switch out the bag.
You have to switch them out. But this has these guys coming in from another dimension. And this is the prototype
Mine's in
for
3D. Sorry.
for Doctor Strange. This is the prototype for Doctor Strange. So this is, and these guys go back to the dark world from whence you come. Be gone, I command you. They said, "Really? I don't think so. We're coming." So
So
those
did he give you any good comics, like K-Mutant's asking?
no, he gave me a Wonder Woman that was the Sphinx. Have you seen the one where
Yeah,
Wonder
that's not a
Woman is
bad one.
running?
Yeah, I
Wonder
like
Woman
that
is
one.
running away from the Sphinx, and the beams are coming out of its eyes.
Yeah.
That one, I got that one.
Okay.
And I think I got a Mademoiselle Marie DC, and then I got a
Okay.
couple of, I think, three Charlton, Fight Navy or something like that. And Sam Glanzman, who was the artist that did this, and Rick Estrada was in there somewhere, but Sam Glanzman, his guys, the Americans look almost Japanese, and the Japanese guys look more Japanese. So I mean, it was sort of, you knew who the good guys were because it said U.S. all over, but his facial stuff was kind of scattered, and it was Charlton with that type thing. And of course, as a kid, even as a kid, a comic is a comic. No, comics, which are good and which ones are not quite so good. So now those are the two Journey into Mysteries. I now shift into Strange Tales. Here is
Okay.
Strange Tales number 84, and this is Magneto.
Oh yes, his like prototype, you mean?
The strangest menace the world has ever known. And it says, how? How does he do it? Magneto is uprooting the entire city, people, cars, even buildings. If he isn't stopped, we're all doomed, which is a recurring theme in all of these, that they are doomed.
Mm.
Strangely, they are not doomed, and the issue is resolved in one issue in one third of the book.
So it's really easy.
So
Not so
so
deemed.
and this was what went on with the Marvel monsters. And Stan said that he kind of they had trouble because they were running out of names, so they had to, like, figure some. They would bounce these different names, improbable names, and some of them you'll see some of them in here. Um, but this is Strange Tales, another 10 center Magneto. And this looks like Stan Rosen as the colorist, because he always did this. Look at the perspective of the building with Magneto, Kirby,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yes.
and of course you have the people, but all the people are the same color. And he did this for dramatic effect. He didn't If he put regular clothes on them, it wouldn't have the same impact. So you also see that when he colors on the inside to a lot of these early Marvel books. And he's a great colorist. He makes a statement with his colors. He takes not only the pencils and the inks are great, and then he brings his sense of color to it, which is he's underappreciated, but I sure appreciate him. So when you're looking at your early Marvels, when you see Stan Rosen, you can see that he has interesting stuff. So that's Strange Tales. Here is another one. Can mankind defeat him again? See the return of Grog.
Well, at this point, they're not really a ripoff of
No,
DC.
it's
This is
not here.
they went
Not
a
here. They're
totally
not.
different direction at this
No,
point.
no, they had their good girl stuff. Although DC had good girl stuff too, there's no doubt about that. A lot of the companies did. Charlton did too. Charlton had some great good girl stuff, and the good girl stuff, you could get away with murder even when the code. I mean, you can't say blood or anything like that, and you got gals jumping into the bushes and smoking cigarettes and drinking in the romance books. And I said, how the hell are they getting away with that? And they did it month after month. I mean, I said, I was an idiot. I said, I want the superhero books. Anyway,
All the good
so now
stuff's in the romance stuff.
Grog looks very familiar to Fin Fang Foom. There is definitely a similarity to him, but this is the return of Grog, and this is the 10-cent bubble that they have with the red 10 cents is sort of a special. It gives you an idea of the time frame. The later 10 centers is where they went to the red 10 cents. So here is another Tales of Suspense monster. It's Electro. He held the world in his iron grip.
I mean, the monster books are really cool. I mean,
And
yeah,
again,
I
and
think I
again,
have that one of all the monster ones. That's
oh, okay.
somewhere in there.
This one is a great story. There's a scientist that creates this computer, and the computer says, "Now you will make a body for me," and he put the electronic whammy on him, and then so he says, "Yes, yes, I will make it." So he builds this monster and this giant robot thing, and he says, "I will have these powers. You will make these powers for me, etc." And so, yes, master. And he does it. He builds this monster, charges him up, and off he goes and starts destroying everything. Like these, he transferred the electronic brain of this Electro into this robot. And then, but what he did do is inside he had a fuse. that he left there. And so when Electro was walking one way, he went running up behind and climbed into his heel. What are you doing, puny human? Sort of like in Jason and the
Mhm.
Argonauts, where it's Talos, it's Talos, and they unscrew his foot, and all this juice rolls out, which is a great scene. I like the skeletons jumping out of the ground, though. That's a pretty good one too.
Yeah, I like that scene. I love Jason and the Argonauts too.
Rise, rise, crazed guy. So anyway, he goes, "You can't do anything to me." And then the guy pulls the plug. He pulls the fuse out, and it falls over. And he says, "Okay, that's it for you." Story. And so once again, here is a cool plot, similar, except he's sort of more gorilla, more simian looking. He's sort of like a robot gorilla kind of looking guy.
Mhm.
He held the world in his iron grip. Could have been steel, but it's iron. So anyway, but again, one shot. You get the monster came and the monster went, and then you had some other and everything. And this is where I picked up the word irony. How ironic that the super monster was taken out by the smallest electrical circuit that is a fuse, and all it was one little fuse could take him out. How ironic. Okay, here is Tales of Suspense number 14. Now, let's see, that was Tales of Suspense number 13. Here is Tales of Suspense number 14. And I created the Colossus.
Mm.
Flee for your lives. He didn't say, he doesn't want us to say the same thing every time. Instead of saying run for your lives, this time it's flee for your lives.
This is where the sources come in handy.
He lives. The Colossus lives. Yeah, and he's has a problem. And again, it's Kirby and the architecture and all the people sort of standing and gesticulating and everything else, which is so totally Kirby.
Well, one sec here. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I don't know.
I thought it was his defeat the people and subjugate the women or whatever it is. Bleecker would know how to. Bleecker would have that. This is anyway. So that was Tales of Suspense 14, and actually here is Tales of Suspense number 15, and this is when they're starting to have little difficulty with names, because this one is Behold Goom, the thing from Planet X. Get back, run for your lives. Nothing can stop Goom. He's got very nice teeth, and he only has 4 fingers. Well, they're very confused monsters, Fiddle. They're very confused monsters.
That's one I haven't seen before, the Goom one.
Isn't it great? Look at that face.
It's kind of like a baby looking like
No,
face.
it's just and you can
Yeah, he
hear him
kind of looks
eating
baby-like. I
trees.
don't know.
You can see him eating trees and stuff like that. It's sort of nebulous what his groin is set up. I'm a little bit. There's some sort of a swash spot there. I'm not entirely sure, but he's a monster. And again, this is that same goldy bronze. Very true. He has that kind of goldy bronze cover stock. I mean colors, and those show everything. So they are all generic giant monsters. Geez, did they get a deal on gray
On
ink?
gray ink.
Well, the gray ink didn't really do them any favors once in a while, but it was a one shot. I don't even know. I haven't looked inside. All of these you can find online to read, and I'm going to. These books, again, because Martin Goodman was cheap ass, are very, very fragile books. That's why you very seldom will find them with very nice, presentable condition. And when I went on my shopping spree for these, I had 9, and then all the rest of them I bought because, they're about 150 to 200, some 3.5, depending upon whether they're slabbed or in their condition. Here is a very, very, now I'm going into my astonishes. Here's Tales to
Oh,
Astonish.
hey, Bigby's here. Hi, Bigby.
Hello, Bigby. Tales to Astonish number 7. This has the interesting Tales to Astonish. This is approved by the Comics Code, and it's issue number 7. That's
Okay.
interesting. I spent midnight with the Thing on Bald Mountain.
His head sort of looks detached.
Well, I think it was detached, and then this idiot put it back on. Now that you have completed me, I will destroy. Everybody wants to destroy us. I
Why
will des-
destroying all the
I
time?
will destroy. But you know, the interesting thing is he only lasted one issue, so he didn't do very well.
Not very successful at that whole
He was
destruction
he
thing.
it was close. It was very close. But also they always had the folly of man and the greed. I will make this monster and he will steal from me, or they always had
Mhm.
some human failing, one of the seven deadly sins or deadly devices, where it's not gluttony, but certainly wanting wealth, and that kind of thing, or revenge. Wealth and revenge were a lot of times were the very things, and in
Greed.
each one of these stories, the motivations of the humans that are interacting or create or have interactions with these monsters, um, it always depends upon they'll spin the perspective so that if it's a greed thing, if it's an avarice thing, if it's I want to kill everybody kind of thing, and I have this monster is with me, or I'll release this monster and this and that will happen, etc. And they try out all these different themes. What are the so a lot of times the monsters are elemental. In other words, you make a monster, the monster's going to be a monster. That's it. There's not a lot of thought to it. Electro, there was some thought, but he outthought himself. He thought he couldn't be stopped, and then the guy pulled the fuse, and that was the end of him. Here is Tales to Astonish number 9, and this is uh, Get Off the Streets, Get Out of Town. Here comes Droom. Even the missiles can't stop Droom.
They
No one
actually
is
use
safe.
that name again. They use that as Dr. Drew.
That's right.
Yeah.
Help! Save us! He's alive! He's coming! It's Droom!
So yeah.
Okay, so now here's Tales to Astonish number 10. Look, Mac, it wasn't a gag. There really is a Titano. Titano is invading the city itself. Now, no place on Earth is safe. They're never really very safe around in Marvel Comics. Each month,
Hmm.
they aren't very safe. What's the guy saying on the look? Yeah, it's the guy out there on the skyscraper, the construction site. There's the Brooklyn Bridge off in the background. It's another
Okay.
great Kirby cover. Great
You know,
perspective.
I always think if you're going to be in like a horror movie or like some kind of like that kind of situation where there's like some monster that's going to attack, just stay away from landmarks and you'll probably be safe.
Well, the one job I wouldn't want to be an insurance agent that insured these buildings.
Yeah.
There was a thing where they had this thing, some spoof with Marvel, where they were suing the heroes for all the property damage that they caused when the aliens and monsters would appear, and then they would say we're suing you, and they would sue them out of existence. All the stuff. It's
Hmm.
obviously that's an attorney's dream. I mean, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Here's one, Tales to Astonish number 12. And this here comes Corgilla. He's seen us up there. It's Corgilla. Look, it isn't just a mole in the dirt, a hole in the dirt. Heaven help us. It's a giant footprint. Corgilla, the monster of Midnight Mountain, lives. And what do these guys have? Bow and arrows or something? No, they're. It's always the explorer guys who say, "Look what we found. Maybe we shouldn't touch this." No, no, we'll touch it. That's good.
Yeah.
Don't
Um,
touch it. Oh no, we shouldn't have touched it. I love it. But it's just again, it's the hubris of man, the greed of man, the avarice of man,
well,
the
it's sort of like
the
Godzilla too.
stupidity. No, the stupidity of man. And then
Hmm.
then they find that there is a force greater than them, so that they say, "Oh, we're all going to die," and it's just and it's just that's the thing. But each monster got one, maybe at the most you get 2 trips, and that's about it. Here is Tales to Astonish number 14. You will never, ever forget Krang. I can't escape. There is no escape from Krang.
I think monsters have to have lots of R's in their names.
Well, usually it's 2 R's. You know, they'll be like that. But here is Krang. Looks like a giant ant, sort of. But he's going into Doom's castle. Here's the Kirby castle. Here he is, Krang, the unbelievable. Before, let's see. Your startled eyes have never beheld a monster like Krang before, and they never will again. That's true, because it only lasted one issue.
One issue.
And that was the sort of the thing was, what monster will come?
Yeah. I think these are actually before Godzilla, aren't they?
Godzilla, I think, was 59 or 61, something like that. With Raymond Burr, they brought in an actor from the United States. That's what the Japanese movies would do. And with us, our star, Rod Taylor, and and like the Brits would always bring American actors and actresses over there. Dana Andrews in Curse of the
same, yeah. The Krang from Ninja Turtles, though, isn't like a
that was a
eye kind of creature.
Distant relation.
Distant relation, yeah.
Because this Krang is a giant bug. So the names are getting more and more interesting. Here is Tales to Astonish 15. I had to learn the dread secret of the blip before all mankind was wiped out. And again, it's this bronze, coppery, metallic cover that looks so good, and then the yellow trade dress on it. And again, it's Kirby. Did he sign it this time? Kirby and Ayers did the artwork on this.
Actually, Blip is one of the more unique names, I'd say.
What's the name of that one with the first Mario? Is that Blip? What is that that comic?
Yeah, Blip Comics. Blip magazine, I mean.
Blip magazine. So Blip seems to have some sort of electro thing going on. But it's Kirby, but it's just wonderful, wonderful stuff. So that's Blip. Now, whenever in doubt, always 2 R's. This is another of the rules with Marvel. When in doubt, always 2 R's. Here it is. This is Thor, the monster who waited 1,000,000 years to destroy the world. And these are like the Easter Island guys. And also, like with Thor, these are like the rock guys coming down when in Journey into Mystery 83. These are all pre-60. These are all 60, 61 because there's still 10 centers, but we have the code. The code came in 55 started in 54, but basically started in early 50, March 55, whatever. And so all of these are pre 55.
This is Thor.
This is Thor with 2 R's.
But so wow, is this the first? So this is the first appearance of Thor. Wow.
I warned, and then the girl, and of course, there's the woman telling you that you're wrong. Okay, I warned you. I warned you. I warned you not to awaken Thor. Now it's too late. Too late. And they're all going, damn, we're going to get squished like bugs.
I was just going to say that too, Cam Union. I was going to say they look kind of like Easter Island heads.
They are. They're the Easter Island guys, which they basically reused on Journey into Mystery 83.
Oh, interesting.
But this is Thor. It looks like they're coming out of the ground too.
Yeah, and the guy, people, you just see their head when they're...
And the guy shooting the rifle. Oh, I'm sure that'll stop the Rock, So, you remember, what was it, Gom? I think you saw that one. This one has somewhat sort of tendencies. This is Tales to Astonish number 19. And this is Rambu, 2 M's. His very name made mankind tremble. It is Rambo. He's going to get hit with one of them 60s rockets, Sidewinder rockets. Alan, did you go away?
I went away to try to find my monster books. Is that here?
So now this is Tales to Astonish number 21, and it's a red 10 center. Interesting. This 10 center is white bubble with a red 10, and the next one is a red bubble with yellow 10. Interesting how they did this. In the mysterious jungle lurks the most fantastic menace the world has ever known. You know, there are a lot of menaces that we've never known about on a monthly on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, that us humans, we're finding all these monsters that we don't know anything about, and we have to contend with them. It's Troll, the Inhuman. The eyes have it. And you see the white, the bubble, it's a bubble 10 center. So this one has a different look to it. This might be Ditko. I think this one is. This is because I think the way the stars and the, yeah, I think this is Ditko. Here is Tales to Astonish number 22. And you'll see that the red, it's a red bubble 10 cent with the yellow in the 10 cent. Only I dare to battle the crawling creature. And look at all the different Saturns. We've got 3 different Saturns going on here. You've got the cavemen, and you got a guy that's in trouble, and there's the monster. Does he have antennas? He's got pointy head things on his head too.
Interesting. I'm not quite sure what kind of monster that is.
Well, he was the only one that dared to battle him.
Yeah. I think they just like put letters into a hat and then pull out the letters, and then they get the name of the monster.
So this is Tales to Astonish now number 23. And this is really a beautiful cover. And this is definitely Kirby. Moomba is here.
Moomba. That's
a yellow and a yellow 10 with a yellow bubble with a red 10 cent.
Wow. That is really interesting.
Isn't that fun? And he only has 3 fingers. He seems happy about everything, though. He's squishing people.
Is that Kirby that did the
really
cover?
Beautiful. I'm sorry?
Kirby cover?
Oh, it's Kirby, yeah. It's this blue is just, the color strike on this is really, really good. But you almost always find these things just completely creased and hammered.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to show you mine, and they're all creased.
they're creased, and they're marble chipped. They have damage to them. Some of them are faded. There's water damage on them. So finding them where they present nicely is really kind of a trick. Here is one that is, they finally had to go, they ran out of ideas, so they just brought in a classic. It was a deadly day for mankind when I found the Abominable Snowman. It's Abominable Snowman. He exists. We found him, but
why is he?
What do we do now?
He should be white.
No, you just don't understand. You don't understand.
Abominable Snowman is white.
It's not winter, and he gets his white coat in the winter.
In the winter?
And in the winter. And then when he's hunting and stuff, when there's no snow and it's brown, then he blends in with the ground and with the turf. Still a 10 center, still pre-1961.
Oh, thank you, Miss Megan. Wait. Do you have Mad Magazine #1? Yes. Actually, I have 1 through 10 of Mad Magazine.
So we're back still with Tales to Astonish. Oh, let's see here. What number is that? That is number 28. So either number 27, 26 or 27, we go to 12 cents. This is of the last 10 centers. This is Tales to Astonish number 25. So this would be November of 19 60. I have come to take you to Kroger. And I always thought, we're going to Kroger's. Cool. I'd like to get some red grapes and some peanuts. So he's going to take this guy to Kroger, and he is coming out of his portable TV.
So yeah, he
They're all on
knows
the,
that there's
they come out. All the teeth come out when he gets close. Sort of like How to Train a Dragon. The teeth pop out. The creature from Kroger. Incredible though it may seem, I was actually captured by the creature from Kroger.
After a while, the monsters all kind of a similar look to them.
Which is what the fans noticed, and the fans, they would buy, but they were buying less and less because, here we got another monster for 1 month, and now next month it'll be another monster. That one doesn't move me. I guess I won't. I don't know.
And they should have come up with different ideas.
They evidently they were entrenched with what they were doing. Here is Tales to Astonish number 28 from February of 19. So this would be 61. Tales to Astonish. It's a 12 center, and it says, from start to finish, this is the whole spine-tingling tale, exactly as it happened. I am the Gorilla Man. And we only got a B+ on it.
I have actually a Tales to Astonish too. Okay, I'll have to grab that.
Here is the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde homage here. Stan Lee used various literature and tropes to have the monsters, if they're coming from outer space, if they come through a portal, if it's a mad scientist that creates a serum and turns himself into a monster, or whatever it is, a la Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And there's a certain amount of supernatural to it in some of them. This is a really great cover. Busy. This is a Kirby cover. Tales to Astonish number 29 from March. See what happens to the world as we know it. Quote, when the space beasts attack. Check this cover out. Isn't that wild?
Wait, what? I can't see it. One second. Oh yeah. So what
Isn't that cool? They're all floating in, and they got the ships and every. Do you know this? And all the people trying to get away, and they're all coming down and tromping on them. Isn't this incredible cover?
Yeah, it's a great cover. It almost looks like they're being dropped onto the people.
They are. They're all coming down from the flying saucers out of the bomb bays that open up like the lens of a camera, and they're all dropping out of the bomb bay.
Do you know that cool? That game where you have like the little monkeys and they all hook together and you make chains out of them?
Yes.
That's what that reminds me. Barrel full of monkeys or whatever it's called.
25
reminds me of that, strangely.
On the bed. Here's Tales to Astonish number 31, 12 center. This is from May. Inside these pulse pounding pages, you will learn, if you dare, the mummy's secret.
Oh, wow. But why is the mummy so big?
Absolutely. Unequivocally, he's coming right out of the pyramid. They shouldn't have touched it. They shouldn't have. I shouldn't. I knew I shouldn't have touched it. It says don't touch, but I had to touch it.
Yeah, a lot of the monsters were converted into superheroes and different characters later.
Here is Tales to Astonish number 32. And this is what? What could it be that came up out of the
Miss, I was just going to show you the Mad books. I actually pulled them out for you. Oh, well. Oh.
It's incredible. Nothing could come up from the quicksand except What? What is it? Great
What is
color
it?
scheme. And again, this has sort
And
of a maroon, gold, coppery top with a
the
white.
monster's called Quicksand?
No, the monster came out of the quicksand, and there is footprints going there. And the guy in the pork pie hat, which Kirby always gave the guys these flat top hats, and they're always stroking their chin. What came out of the quicksand? And then the
Okay, so
stories down below, it says also in this fantastic issue, the girl in the black hood, the bully boy, and the latest Lee Ditko gem. I
wow.
am a Martian. So you got 3 stories there, and you have one coming out of the quicksand. So you got 4 stories in this one.
Wow.
And for 36 pages, that's pretty good. Of
That's
course,
4
4
stories,
times
8
9.
page per story. So that's very quick storytelling.
Yeah. And my last raw book is Tales to Astonish number 34. This is from August. Have you ever wondered why some stories become comic magazine classics? When you read the startling, mysterious monster at my window, quote unquote, in
Mhm.
this great issue, you'll learn the answer. Heaven help me, it's true. There is a monster at my window.
Oh, wow. See, doesn't his face kind of look like Fing Fang Foom a bit?
Not this one. Fin
Just
Fang
like the
Foom doesn't
little
look
bit
like
around
this
the
at all.
face.
No, no, no. Fin Fang Foom doesn't look like this. You will see Fin Fang Foom
No, no,
momentarily.
no. I mean just
He's
the
a dragon.
face, not the
Huh?
body, not the body. The just that little like it almost looks like it's like antennas or and like almost like a maybe it's just because it's too small.
No, he's got one hand up.
Oh, okay. Actually, further
He's
once
he's
it's
crawling
closer, I
down.
can't. No, no.
He's got the nails coming out of his fingers. He does have five fingers per hand though.
Okay. Actually, once you brought it closer, yeah, I don't see the. Yeah, it just when it's far away, it kind of looked more Fing Fang Foomish.
So those are my raw books, and now I want to show you the
Oh,
slabs.
oh wait, wait, wait. We do
Do you want to take
multiple
a break?
rounds. Yeah, do
You want to
multiple
just
rounds. Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly show some books.
How's our chat doing?
Our chat's fine. I've been kind of, don't open the window. Steven, are you missing many monster books?
Am I missing many? I'm certain that I've missed some.
I
I
mean,
don't.
those runs were like hundreds, like 80 some odd,
Well,
90 some odd issues. Yeah.
it's they run from 20 or 30 issues per anthology. I chose Astonish because I liked the covers in Astonish, and I like Tales to Astonish a lot. But
Mm.
Strange Tales and Journey into Mystery and Tales to Suspense all have them as well.
See, people. Oh, is that Anna Love?
Hello, Anna. How are you?
Wow, hey.
Nice to see you, Anna.
I'd love to interview you, by the way, Anna Love. You have awesome books.
She not only does Anna have fantastic books, but she has the rarest and original art and multiples of the best books you'll ever
multiples of
see. I mean,
multiples
no,
of
no, no,
rare
but
books.
she's a collector, and when she sees them, she says, "Hey, I'm going for it." And I mean, more power to her. She has an unbelievably follow Anna on Instagram.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
she really does have the fantastic stuff. It makes I have some nice stuff, but Anna is absolutely
Yeah, it's
the
that
me plus
next
ultra.
level.
She's tippy
Yeah.
top. Thanks for coming, Anna. Thank you very
Yeah,
much. I
thank
like
you
it.
for coming. That's really nice. Okay, so I'm gonna show some books. Somebody asked for Mad. I'm just gonna quickly show a couple Mad books. Here's Mad number 1. It's my copy. So I
Well, I
always
figured
wanted
it.
to
I
have it.
figured it was your copy, Alan.
Yeah, no. Like
Would you be showing someone else's copy?
yeah, no, I was planning on it, but
I think
and
it's the
then
new haircut has affected your brain. Is this true?
and then we got Mad number 7. I was gonna say my copy, but I was gonna say something else, but I decided not to.
Oh,
Um,
hmm. Hmm.
yeah. So this is a little bit better grade. Mine's my Mad one's just a 3.0, so it's sort of lower grade. But I did bring some monster books. Okay, so you already showed this one, the sorcerer. I'll toss that down there.
We twinsy that.
We twinsies that. But I brought non-Marvel monsters. Okay, so I'm gonna sort of give you guys a bit of a preview of my unboxing series that I'm doing right now. Um, so these are monsters, but not Marvel monsters. So this one, Haunted Thrills. I kind of like this, you know, the girl in the red dress, guy with creepy long fingers. Haunted Thrills. I think this is Ajax, yeah.
Is that Ajax Feral?
Yes, Ajax Feral. And then we got The Thing. This has lots of monsters on it. I like the girl that's lying on the...
Wow, she is rather pointy.
Very pointy. Actually, I noticed her first. But look at the person right above her. She's got a meat cleaver. Kind of the crone, or... I don't know. I thought it was really cool. And then there's like these little demon guys at the bottom.
Boy, things are really tough in that apartment complex. What's the big
Yeah,
barrel?
like
What are all the barrels and stuff? What's going on?
I'm not sure why the barrels and stuff, but there's a black cat on the barrel. And then there's this sort of like professor looking like skeleton. It's got like a pipe
Sort of
and
Doctor Doom kind of guy.
yeah, very interesting. And then all these little demon guys. So I'm not really sure what's going on here, but it's a pretty interesting
Wow,
cover.
it's a convention.
Yeah, it's just a interesting one. And then, one sec here. And as I was digging for monster ones, but I was looking in the wrong box, I did find, you know, Strange Adventures. I know it's DC. Just, so this is the first appearance of Animal Man. So, kind of a key book. So that's Strange Adventures number 180. And this is during the DC phase where they were, you know, going crazy for gorillas. So you got the gorilla one. This one actually is from the Mile High collection, which is interesting.
The 1.4.
Yeah, 1.4 Mile High collection.
I don't know what that, I
I
don't
don't
know
know what the
what that
1.4
means.
means. I'm not sure what that 1.4 is, but sure. And then I'm going to show you some other monsters that I kind of grabbed. So this is going to be in the new unboxing that I'm doing. This is Weird Fantasy, a nice Wally Wood cover.
Nice.
You got the crazy monster there.
I love the rocket on the side there, very much like that space action. Has the rocket going up the side.
I'm kind of mixed feelings about it, tell you the truth.
You'd rather have a full picture.
I'd rather have a full picture, especially with this art. I really like Wally Wood's art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at his teeth and stuff. That's an awesome monster.
Doesn't look good.
I love the bubble helmets. So yeah, Wally Wood's awesome. And okay, now we got, these are ones that I always kind of show. So I got some classic monsters. The Creature. And the Monster. People always say Frankenstein, but it's actually Frankenstein's monster. So it's just the monster. He never got a name. He was just called the Monster. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah, I figured that.
And who wrote Frankenstein?
Shelley.
Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley, yes. And then we have Chamber of Chills. This is kind of like a monster iceberg. Is it an iceberg?
No,
it's
monster.
Like an
it's a frozen.
It says
cave.
Monster Cave of Death, but it
yeah,
kind of looks like. For some reason, whenever I see this, it kind of looks like looks. I think it is like, you know, it's a cave, but it kind of always looks like to me like water here, and this is like an iceberg, but it's not. I know it's a cave, but kind of looks like an iceberg to me. I'm just saying.
And the clue is it says the Cave of Death. That was the first thing that caught
Well,
my
yeah,
eye.
I get it's a cave. I get it's a cave, but Icebergs
I
don't
also
have big
see
scoop.
crunch and crack as he's closing his mouth on these clowns.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna totally. Like, I think he's crunching as the ice is breaking around him or
Yeah,
something.
as he's about to just eviscerate those guys.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of like that one. And actually, I got this one. Kind of an interesting story. So, Stray Flexing, Yaniv, he has the original art for this cover.
Oh wow.
And he actually picked up a raw copy of it and he was going to sell it to me, but I was like, oh, I kind of prefer to get it slabbed if I was going to get it, and I found a slab cheaper than what he was going to sell me the raw copy, and actually in a higher grade. So I was like, sorry. So but yeah, but I kind of felt bad to him. um
But not too
eh,
bad.
Not too bad because I got it cheaper. um and then we got this. I always love this one. This is House of Secrets, the monster ice cream.
Did I tell you in high school I worked at Baskin and Robbins?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I was the number three on the totem pole.
Oh,
It was
wow.
her name was Juanita Lee, a very very nice woman. She would always send her family and relatives in to see if we were making the scoops too big,
Oh,
and
wow.
so as we were, this was when singles were 15 cents, doubles were 29, and triples were 42 cents. And
Oh, okay.
I still have my brown and white clip-on bow tie, brown with white dots bow tie from it. But
How many flavors back then?
31, and
Okay.
English toffee and tanganilla were my two favorites, besides Jamaica almond fudge. But you know, they said, my friends always says, "Well, you know, don't you get tired of ice cream?" I said, "What, are you crazy? Of course not."
So you know what's funny? When I was in university, we have I was going to university at Dalhousie in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and we have like a very famous park. It's like a very beautiful park in sort of downtown Halifax. It's called Point Pleasant Park, and one of the things that you do is you walk around the park, and there's an ice cream shack there. There's just like a little shack where you can get like ice cream and, like, maybe hot dog or something like that kind of level. I was the person that would scoop the ice cream, and probably maybe not the most sanitary. I maybe health inspector wouldn't have liked me too much because I kind of let the you know I'd scoop it, but then, like, the water that you gotta kind of rinse your little scooper thing. I didn't
Yes.
change that very often, so it kind of get mixture with all the different flavors after a while, and I just sort of
Well,
I should.
what we had was, we actually had one that it was a very slow recirculating thing.
Oh, that's good.
Uh, and they didn't have the ones where they were the big plexiglass windows that would fold up. It was actually it was a square thing, and they had
Hmm.
these big rollers that would roll, these flat rectangular panels that would
Oh, that's
roll
really.
over and stuff.
Oh,
And
that's really good.
it was right down by Washington Park, which is one of the oldest parks in Portland. Um, and what happened was, this was in the 1970s, early 1970s,
Hmm.
when I was in high school. That's how I paid to keep my MG running. And all these people would get stoned out of their minds and come down and want to taste ice cream.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I So I just quickly to finish my story about the ice cream. Actually, so I my manager came in one day, and you said that they didn't want you to put the scoops too big. We were the opposite way. He actually said, "Oh, you're making the scoops too small." So we would give like really big scoops. There he would say, "Oh, give them big scoop. Make sure that you give them a big scoop every time." So, and I did get around to changing the water. Like, I was told that I was not being the most sanitary. So
Well, you know,
I
the other
did
thing,
get around to it.
for a pretty girl coming
Hmm.
in, why the scoops would be a little bit bigger.
Oh, okay.
If it was for a villain or one of my peers that was a schlemiel, why the
Hmm.
scoops were not quite as big as they might be. But when Aunt Juanita would come in, she would put a
Hmm.
piece of parchment paper down on the scale. She said, "Stephen, you scoop." And I had the strongest wrists. because
Oh, okay.
you roll the ice cream
Yeah, you
around
gotta
the
kind of.
outer edge. No, around the outer edge, you
Yeah,
roll it.
yeah.
And so I played tennis all 4 years. So my wrists are strong as hell. So I was
Hmm.
able to scoop that and put it right on there. 2.5 ounces was the scoop size back then. And every time she would ask me to do it, it was 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Okay, but you make sure you don't make scoops. I said, I just did three. I just did three scoops. They're all 2.5. That's how I scoop it. He
Hmm.
said, okay, Stephen. She didn't believe me.
Oh, here, I'll show you the label. So yeah, so this one, I don't know. I just love this cover because it's like ice
I don't know.
cream,
I
V
don't want to eat.
screen.
I don't think I like that flavor, Alan.
Oh, but it's cute. I like something
Melted
about it
face.
to me is kind of cute. I don't know. I think the monster looks kind of
Cute.
cute. Yeah. There was some, I forgot what it was, like some old horror movie where the food came to life and it was like, it was kind of like scary thing, but I always thought it was cute looking. So this kind of reminds me of that. So
Well, it kind of reminds me of Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Nazi and the officer that melted when they found
oh,
the
when his
ark.
face melts, yeah. Actually, so I watched Raiders Last Ark with my mom and my whole family. We went. My mom freaked out at that scene. She's like so upset. All we heard that whole night was her going on, "Oh, it's too much for kids, blah blah blah," and like it's like horrible, blah.
Well, it
It
really
was,
was. It really was quite
yeah,
a bit.
well, it
You had to
was,
get all the way, and then of course, then Belloc blows up.
yeah. Okay. You showed a mummy. I should show a mummy. I know you have a better copy of this one. Actually, I know you have two better copies than this one, but I'm going to show it anyways. This is another monster one from my next unboxing, and it's Blue Beetle #1.
Does it show who did the artist? Was the artist on that?
The artist is, I have no idea. Yeah. It says probably Frank McLaughlin.
Well, Frank McLaughlin did Judo Master, so it might be, but it looks a little bit rougher than McLaughlin's work. Although
Yeah. So
I don't know
there's three artists associated to it. It doesn't say who did the cover.
who are the
Um,
other two.
Bill Facio and Tony Talarico. Talarico. I'm not sure who they are. I don't know them that well. So, do you know which? Does any of those sound like it could be the artist for this one?
I honestly don't know. It just does not look like McLaughlin to me. That's all I will say. I think he
Hmm.
has a better line. Because I really do like the Judo Master.
Yeah, I know the Judo Master. It doesn't look the same style as the Judo Masters.
I
So,
like the cover though.
yeah, it is a cool cover. I like the fact that the mummy he has one eye that's kind of peeking out.
Yeah, and
Almost, it almost looks like a cyclops a bit, but
he's got a bad wing. They always had one hand that was all kind of shrunk up.
yeah, it's true.
A T-Rex arm, and then he had the other one that he's. And I don't know how you could have a thing shuffle that slowly and still catch up with someone and kill him,
But
but he
also
could do it.
in this one, the mummy's really big too. The giant mummy. Why the mummy's giant? I don't get it.
But he was the. You read the title again. That is so
The
funny.
giant mummy who was not dead.
And I love that. He's the giant mummy that was not dead, unlike the dead
Dead
mummy.
mummy that was totally dead.
He looks pretty dead. He's mostly dead.
Yeah,
Just
mostly dead.
mostly dead.
So I don't know. I don't know. I thought that one was a cool one. So those are some of the ones that will be in this next unboxing. I
Oh,
don't know
thank you for
when.
showing. I'm glad you broke them out.
And I did break out a couple of Tales to Astonish. So I'm not sure if you're going to be showing. Are you showing any Tales to Astonish?
I have a few more left. I have
You got,
one, two,
we might do
three,
twinsies then. You'll
four.
probably do twinsies.
I have four more of Tales to Astonish and slabs.
Okay, and you're gonna. I have a feeling you're gonna show certain ones.
I am going to be showing a certain one. Yes.
Okay, well I'll probably do the twinsy thing with you.
All right. Shall you do it when I show? Then then you can do it like that. I start to feel like we're doing flashcards.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is what you do, right? Actually,
I
it's funny.
remember.
We're
Do you
both
remember
wearing black today.
flashcards? I thought that was funny. Flashcards.
So,
What is it?
well, when I was a kid, not a kid. I wasn't a kid. When I was in Korea, I consider myself any time before now is when I was a kid. I always refer to my past selves as me as a kid, even though that I
How
was
many
not a
selves,
kid at the time.
Alan? How many selves have you had?
Yeah, well, too many to count.
I
So the
see.
point is, when I was in Korea, we used flashcards all the time.
Oh, really?
I'd I'd make my own flashcards too. My best flashcards, and my kids love these flashcards, was every class, you would start the class by saying, "Hello, how are you?" To the class, right?
Hmm.
And the kids would say, "I'm fine, thank you." You know? I'm like, this is really boring. This is really boring. This is like not interesting English. I'm going to teach them something different.
Up
So
your
I
nose
taught
with a rubber hose?
so no, so what I did was I created flashcards with different emotions, like
Mm,
fantastic, amazing, all these different ways to express yourself, how
yeah.
you're feeling today. Instead of just saying fine, thank you, I had kids going, "Oh, I'm amazing, I'm fantastic." It was just more cool.
So you
I
use them
have to. So I made this
adjectives.
like little head with like different emotions, and amazing was this like crazy smile. It's just
That's
like
fun.
yeah, it was fun, and my kids really loved it because it was so boring saying the same thing every day, right? So I tried to make
Mhm.
it a little bit more exciting. So yeah, uh, I was not old enough to fight in Korea. I was teaching English in Korea, to in Yuchiwon, which means kindergarten. So it was like 5-year-olds and younger. So they were really young kids.
Did
It was
they
quite
have the
quite
equivalent
challenging.
of did they have the equivalent of bento boxes for their
Yeah,
lunch?
they do. Yeah, they do. So Koreans really like their side dishes. If you ever eat a Korean meal, it's like maybe the main meal and then a whole bunch of little. I can speak a little bit of English. Don't worry. So don't just a little bit. Um, So yeah, actually, the funny thing is, if you're in a foreign language, like a foreign language environment for a long time, your English actually suffers, where you get like a little bit of that dialect of how people pronounce things or mispronounce things in the local environment.
You become
So
a
my
verbal
my English
chameleon.
was
You become a verbal chameleon to fit in. So that
yeah.
you but the fact is what you're trying to do is you're trying to communicate. So if they
Hmm.
say it a certain way, then you repeat it, you parrot it, but then you give them the correct pronunciation too. But you're using that to actually be a
Well,
like
you
like a hook into
generally
it.
you try not to mimic them because they should mimic you. Like you don't you don't mispronounce it,
Well, I mean, just
but
to
but
open the
it but
door, just to open their eyes, you know?
no, no, you don't. No, they don't encourage that. But the point is, what ends up happening is it kind of gets into you, and you sort of question yourself when 20 people are all saying it some weird way. Like English, the word English in Korean, when they say it, is English E because they don't like finishing with a consonant. They like to finish with a vowel sound. So, things like that. So after a while, you keep on hearing that and you're like kind of questioning, am I right about this? Is this really the
Yeah,
way it's
you're right.
pronounced? Yeah.
There ain't no E.
There's no E on English. But, that's what happens after a while. So, you'd have to kind of take breaks every so often from that
Mhm.
environment and get refocused on your own language. It was the weirdest thing. Okay, let's go back to monster books.
Okay. Here is Amazing Adventures number one. This is a 10 center, and this is from June of 1961. And it's Tor. When in doubt, two R's. You have this too, Alan.
Yeah, actually, I have it semi handy. One sec here. Just bear
You
with me.
don't kill yourself.
No, no, no. It's semi handy.
It's semi handy.
Yeah. I. Okay. Wait, wait, wait.
Look at this print. It's impossible. Nothing could be so huge. Tor can. Quiet. Tor might be anywhere.
Ta-da!
Hey, with same
Oh,
grade too.
yeah. Actually, that's cool. Mine's in a crappy bag though. One sec here.
See, that's a transport bag. I actually, if you go on
Hmm.
Amazon, you can buy these things called Mylar, and you can actually put them into
Oh,
a Mylar bag, right?
Lao. So Itaewon, for anyone that actually goes to Korea, Itaewon's like the place where the foreigners go. It's kind of like the bar district, and it's kind of where the U.S. military hang out. I'd go to Itaewon pretty much every weekend. I wouldn't drink though. I don't drink. But yeah. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. Here is Tales to Astonish number 8, and
Okay.
this is a 10 center, and this is from March. November of 1959, and it's I saw the invasion of the Stone Men.
No, that's really cool. Yeah, another giant gray monster. Yeah. Yeah, maybe somebody commented that about the gray ink. I maybe they did get some sale on it. I don't know what's going on.
You'll also notice the one coming up out of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll notice the one that's walking has square concrete blocks for feet and hands.
Yeah. It's interesting. Okay.
Here is Tales to Astonish number 20.
A prototype of concrete. You never know.
Tales to Astonish number 20 from June of 1961. And this was Evacuate the City, Run for Your Lives again. X still lives. And I was hunted by X, the thing that lived.
Oh yes, that's a cool one. And what's the grade? You can just go a little bit lower. Yeah, it's nice.
5.5.
5.5.
That's
believe
a
it or
high
not, that's a
grade.
solid grade.
No, that's a high grade for these.
Yeah, the
They
monster
just
books
don't
were always
survive.
mangled. Yeah.
I'm certain that Anna's are nicer than these.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's really
Fun.
that's a cool one.
Here is Tales to Astonish number 17. And this is from March of 1961. And this is Van Doom, He Who Made a Creature.
Oh wow.
Had you seen
I
this?
feel like they needed more O's. I feel like it could have been
Three O's.
Yeah, like 3 O's. Yeah, just to be a little extra.
Instead of random, it could have been Vandom. But then we don't want Vandom. Put another O in there. Van Doom. I'm surprised they didn't put 2 M's.
Yeah, they
Or
could
2
have.
V's. 2 V's
I
would
feel
have
like
been good.
I feel like they could have gone bigger with it. Like just like I feel like they're trying to bring the name right across the page, and yeah, more O's. Van
Van Doom.
Doom.
That cool?
Yeah, it is cool.
Now, this is one of the biggest ones that you got. Until one other character broke out of the Marvel Monsters, this one, and still is, one of the top 2 monsters. Actually, I will say 3 now, top 3 monsters. And this is Fin Fang Foom.
Okay, I'll do the twinsies thing with you.
And this is Strange Tales number 89, and this is from October of 1961. $1,100, Alan?
Canadian. I talked him down though, so don't worry. Mine's probably like a 3.0.
I was really very fortunate to get this one. It wasn't terribly expensive when I bought it, and it's a hard book to find. It really is a tough book.
Yeah, that's why I picked it up when I did, because yeah, mine's like a 3, but it's a pretty copy.
And the story of Fin Fang Foom is that the Red Chinese were invading China, and they didn't know what to do to try to stop them. And they didn't have the army, they didn't have the equipment, they didn't have anything. And then this ancient guy goes in, he says, there is something that can help us. It's sort of like the Majin, if you've ever seen those movies, the Majin from American International, they're just great movies. They put a spike in its head and he pulls it out, then he starts walking. And the thing is, it's that with Fin Fang Foom is an elemental, which means that Fin Fang Foom's going to do what he's going to do, whether you're good, bad, indifferent, or otherwise. He's just going to do what he do.
Okay.
So this, so Fin Fang Foom is asleep, and so this guy goes and he wakes Fin Fang Foom up, and then Fin Fang Foom will, and out he comes, and the Red Chinese are there, and so he destroys the Red Chinese, the Reds. He destroys the commies. He just wipes them out. Then once
Okay.
they're wiped out, then he starts to turn like he's going to come after the good guys, right? Or if there are any good guys over there anymore, I don't think so. But anyway, so here they come, and then this sorcerer guy, or this the ancient one, entices it to come back to the cave, and then plays
Go back to
music
sleep.
to put it back to sleep again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the story, because once Fin Fang Foom is going, he's a
He can't
complete
be
and
stopped.
total
Yeah, yeah.
element, can't be stopped. So that's that. Here is the big one. Here is Groot.
Okay,
And
we can do twinsies again.
this is a very nice grade for this book, very high grade.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful copy. Mine's half as good.
I bought when I first heard. I had seen Groot before, just one of the many monsters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had seen Groot before, and when I heard that the Guardians of the Galaxy movie was coming, thanks, Callie. When I heard that it was coming, and that I went online because I wanted to look to see if I could find a copy of it before because I heard that Groot was going to be in it. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
pricing had not jumped as yet, and almost without exception, you find them in 3s and 4s. In a good day, you'll find a lot of 2s and a halves and 3s too, because these books were just used up. They weren't made well, and they were read and enjoyed like they should be read and enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyway, this one was there, and I couldn't believe my luck, and I snapped it. And then shortly thereafter, then all hell broke loose, and this thing just took off like crazy. And where it was in my, but I'm very happy to have it. And the thing about this cover, which is actually pretty good, is that it is the combination of Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko on the cover. So you have both Kirby and Ditko working on the cover.
Wow.
And the story, this is not the benevolent Groot that we have that's I am Groot or whatever it is. I've told this story before, but the story is about Groot arrives from the planet X. The planet X is a bad place to be because we've had many monsters come from planet X, and I wish they wouldn't. Why are they coming here? They want to conquer and destroy us. Well, if you're going to destroy us, why are you coming here? We can't go into that. It's just ridiculous. But nevertheless, and this has that beautiful copper color, that kind of goldy, coppery, metallic kind of looking with the yellow trade dress and the white Groot. Just a great color combination on this.
Mm-hmm.
And the heady line for this stuff, I defy you, Groot. So this guy's a scientist, and he has a wife who is just nothing but a magpie. She's a harridan. You're a wimp. You're a loser. Why don't you be like a man? Be a man. Be a man. And he's going, I must do my science. I must help. Well, anyway, Groot lands, and then he starts ripping the town to pieces. The roots and tendrils are going out. He's crushing cars and buildings. And all the men in town had got their rifles and guns and everything else they got, and they're trying to shoot and kill Groot. Well, they used a flamethrower. Nothing stops him. The explosives, all that stuff. And so then the guy's going, God, I've got to say, what's going to happen if it keeps coming? What will be the end? And then his wife's going, why don't you go down there and fight with the men? Why don't you be a man? Get some balls. Get down there and fight them. What are you doing, you loser? Go down there and fight. And then they show the guy thinking it's like this bounces off his head. But she's just giving him just a raft of crap the whole time, just rag on it. He says, I know what I will do. I will create super termites, and that will be the end of Groot. So then he goes into his lab, and he's feverishly creating super termites like you do. And so he got a whole mess of them, And the wife says, "Oh, why am I even with you? You're such a loser. You're a wimp. You're a coward. You're all this stuff." So then he goes down. And he says, "I defy you, Groot. I shall destroy you before midnight." And so he throws these termites onto Groot, super termites, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah," and that's the end of Groot. And so everyone's going, "Way to go, Doc! You're great. You're great." And then his wife says, "Oh, you're just so wonderful, dear. I knew you would be." And I always thought of, if I was the guy, I said, "Lady, hit the bricks. Get out of my face. You're no help at all to me." But anyway, yes, you are from Planet X, Kelly. So anyway, this is the numero uno for the monsters.
Yeah,
So
actually, that's a good point. Communion.
now, what happened was then, as was this is the 1961, going towards, these were right up to the point of the Fantastic Four. And then the Fantastic Four had the Thing, which is a Marvel monster. I mean, you don't think of him as a Marvel monster, but he is. He's part of an ensemble, and the dysfunctional family and all of the pathos and personality conflicts and stuff that Stan Lee brings to everybody says, "Oh, it's just like real life. They have problems too." Which, of course,
Mhm.
my feeling was, if you're trying to read funny books, you're trying to, have escapism. But with them, it was like, the more problems, the better. Peter Parker and all this, everybody's got these problems. But so anyway, then Stan Lee did. He wanted to make a standalone monster, and that monster is the Hulk. And he used every trick that he had to make the Hulk a winner. And so he had the Hulk, number one, it has a science fiction way that he became who he is, selflessly rescuing Rick Jones. Whatever happened to Rick Jones? Stephen asked.
I will find out. I'll find out
Whatever
now.
happened to Rick Jones? He wanted to be Bucky, and he's crying all the time. Anyway, it's just like with Marvel. That's what you're crying all the time. How ironic. So here is the Hulk, and it has several tropes, several monster tropes. The first trope he has is the Wolfman, because he then turns into, at nighttime, he turns into the Hulk. And then they have to put him into this concrete bunker or whatever it is, that Bruce Banner knows what's coming. And so he builds this elaborate thing so that he can't turn into the Hulk and hurt people and go crazy, and the rage make him and whatever. The second trope is Frankenstein, because he looks like Frankenstein. He has this, and it's different though, because with Frankenstein, Frankenstein was in the movie, he's with the little girl and he's friendly, and then he's always friendly until people step on him, and then he gets mad and he kills them, or tries to. He's a monster. But he's gentle, and there's pathos, there's irony, but there's pathos. And the last thing is, which is in combination with the werewolf thing, where he's turning into this creature, is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But it's different, because Dr. Jekyll wanted to drink the guck to turn him into Mr. Hyde, from the meek and mild Dr. Jekyll turning him into the boisterous Mr. Hyde. But he wove all of those things into the Hulk. And then what he did was he used the best creative stuff, the best writing he could come up with, him and Larry Lieber, for scripting. And he had Jack Kirby, he had Steve Ditko, he had the number one team to work on this. And the public had gone from all of these monsters, like I've shown you, all of these monsters, when they basically, he is the pinnacle of the Marvel monsters. The Hulk is the pinnacle of Marvel monsters. And he wanted to get it so that the Hulk would be dedicated into a title that would work. And it went 6 issues and went kaput, because they
Yes.
weren't going to. But then what happens is, they knew he was a good character, and they never waste a good character with Marvel. No one ever goes away. Everybody's still sort of floating around somewhere in the bullpen. And so then he came back with Fantastic Four. He came back in. Then he came into Tales to Astonish. He was in with the X-Men. I mean, he basically would show up. And one of the other things that they had was, it was also because of a human failing. and he would bring that his rage, that the more angry he would get, the stronger he would get. And that was, I don't know if that was where it didn't start like that, but it ended up like that, where the more you wouldn't like to see me when I get mad kind of thing.
Yeah, I was
He would
later.
get, where he would get very mad and then he would get even stronger. So, but this is just just the rage that he had. He's mad at everybody right from the jump, and he turns into the Hulk, and then he's just this primal feeling. So here I'm going to show you the numero uno Marvel monster, who is now the Marvel monster still going. Here is, I will go from back to front. Here is the Marvel's monster, Incredible Hulk #6 against the Metal Master, and this is a beautiful Steve Ditko cover. Ditko's monster looks so much like any of a number of monsters that he had in Charlton with Captain Atom, or with Doctor Strange, or in all those anthologies, these creepy stories where Ditko would have one. Jack Kirby would have a monster, and then Ditko would have some creepy story, supernatural story. He'll have monsters too, but it's just, whatever however they got the thing going. But this was, he gave Ditko, like he gave Tales of Suspense. He had the Iron Man and the Angel, and that was a Ditko cover too. But that Ditko was around, but Doctor Strange and that creepy supernatural stuff is here. So there's that. Here is the Hulk #5, and this is more powerful, more dangerous, more uncontrollable than ever before. Here comes the Hulk. And then this guy who's Tyrannus, slay the monster in the name of Tyrannus the Mighty. Two great Hulk thrillers featuring Beauty and the Beast, which is another trope.
Yeah, you got really nice copies of it too, which was.
The thing about the Hulk, there's only 6, and so you can try to you try to get it together. In other words, if you're going to put together a run, and there's only 6 of them. If there's 46, then it's not as easy. So
Yeah.
for the first 6, this is I wanted to do it correctly, and here is, I'm missing Hulk #4, but I'm working on one. It's going to be coming up pretty quick. Here is the Hulk #3. See the Hulk banished to outer space, trapped by the Ringmaster, and other thrills with the most exciting original character in comics. He is an original monster.
He isn't very original.
But the originality is based on a lot of literature. So here is issue #3.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't fly. He can jump. He even at this point. And this is another trope, that Rick Jones can't control him. He never really could control him.
Well, he
And then
kind of tries to.
every so often there would be a moment where Bruce Banner would be there, and then the Hulk would get rid of him. Stan Lee would tease us with that quite often.
Like, I think in issue 3 or 4, he actually does get some weird control over the Hulk.
Yeah, I'm not entirely. It is
kind
what
of
it is. It's the way that he wrote it. Here is
Yeah.
the Incredible Hulk #2 that I was telling you about. And this is the first time he turns green, and it's the Toadmen. And the Toadmen, if you look in the book, look very suspiciously like the Thing.
They have that sort of Marvel monster look to them too.
It is too late for the humans to stop us now. Nothing can stop us. Nothing except the Hulk.
I think they really wanted to bring back the Marvel monsters, so they figure, hey, we'll have a main character, but they'll still deal with monsters.
Yes, and they made an effort, and it went a cropper. And here is my copy of Hulk #1.
Very nice.
And this is a 7.5 with white pages and no Marvel chipping. It's just a very, very bright, healthy copy with really great cover strike. And so this is the monsters. Oh, my pleasure. The my idea is that, or my thoughts were all of this, and now the Hulk then of course came back and Astonish, and then at 102, then number 102 is the Incredible Hulk, and
Hmm.
and he had that really nice run in Astonish. I when I stopped collecting, I like Ant Man and Giant Man. I like Ant Man, but I like Giant
Hmm.
Man too. And then the Hulk started in Tales to Astonish in issue number 60. And that is the one where it's the sort of the maroon cover. When I show my Tales to Astonish run, I will show, but is very toyetic. Yes, he is very toyetic.
Mm. A lot of people have to sell their comics at some point.
Well, and I mentioned this on church, is that we don't own any of these. Eventually, they will that you own them as long as you are extant. You can choose to sell them, and when you shuffle this mortal coil, then these books are going to go and they're going to be flushed out to a whole bunch of other collectors. It's sort of like we watch a stream going by, and there are these little eddies that are on the side of the stream, and what we are is we're little eddies where we just basically reach into the stream and get the things. We keep them in our little eddy until finally then the eddy gives up, and you give up, and then it goes right back into the stream. And the thing is that now that comics are an investment, and in many ways are an investment, and tangible assets as opposed to just paper. And with inflation and what have you, it is a buffer, any number of things. And this isn't me being rationalizing being a comic collector. I love them first and foremost. But when you have these investors and consortiums who put in hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to buy extremely expensive and important comic books, early golden age, the big super grails, people will invest in those, hold them, and then sell them. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's part of the market. If the Superman one sells for what it should sell for, you should win all the time. But it doesn't. It doesn't any more than most all of them, really. I guess Marvel Comics. I don't. I haven't really tracked all the Super Grails, but the idea is that you have a place. They when they had a choice to put their money into real estate or into real fine art, into automobiles or into bullion or any of those things. They chose to take that money, sizable money. Um, we've all thought of that too, JX. I'm taking them with me. No, I wouldn't want to destroy them. I want someone else to enjoy them eventually. But that you basically have these guys that have decided that are money managers, that they have other people's money at risk, and they are buying comic books. That is a sea change as far as, and it's been going on for a while. That is a
Hmm.
sea change to what was going on. I have one other axe to grind, and that is when you have books that are back in the late '80s and into the early '90s, when these books were discovered, the Mile Highs were discovered, and all these really high grade books, what you would do whenever you spent a fortune, and it's all relative, but you would spend a fortune on a book, almost without exception, the first thing that you would do would be to send it to a paper conservator to basically protect your investment, so that if it had a spine roll, or if it had dirt on it, or if there was some there was a slight tear or things like that, then you would send it to them to clean the debris off of the book, and then seal the tears so they don't tear, and then take out the spine roll. And then also, then at times, if there was something wrong with the book, like a little bit of color that was missing or something, they would touch the color up. Now, re-glossing the covers and stuff like that, I never knew anybody that actually did that. But there was a conservator named Susan Ciccone, who, if you wanted to have a book done early on, she was the one you always wanted to go to, or people like her, because they had the ability to sympathetically and carefully protect your investment and make it clean and better and safe and conserved. And if it did enhance it somewhat, then a little bit, so be it. but there was no onus to it. There was never any onus to it. But when the purple label of death came in, then that changed it. So, but if you look at all of the big books and you look at, I mean, the really important, expensive books, you'll almost invariably see so many restored copies. And you say, why? And in today's parlance, in mindset, why would they do that? Why didn't they leave it alone? Because you didn't do that back then. You treated this thing like an asset. Like if you restored a Ferrari. Hello, S. Vaughn, Scotty.
Cody.
If you're going to restore a Ferrari, if you're going to restore the Mona Lisa, if you're going to restore a '57 Thunderbird, or if you're going to rebuild your house, or put a new roof on your house, or put new sails on a sailboat, are those the original sails? No. Oh, well, then it's restored. No, it's not restored. It is what it is. So I really have a problem with the onus. The onus on purple labels is because there were people who did not reveal that there was restoration and would then sell a book raw on the basis that it had no restoration on it. Once this, and that onus of basically schlemiels, or carnival barkers, or these basically crooks, basically perpetrating fraud, where they would represent one thing and it wasn't. That's what it was. And some people still think that if you have a restored book, that someone was trying to push the grade to put something over on people, where that it couldn't be farther from. That did happen, and I've had it happen to me. Any collector, most everybody has had that experience. It's not fun, but nevertheless, if there's a
Not
meeting of,
COD.
if there is a meeting of the minds, if there's full information that you're saying, okay, this has some color touch, or it's been trimmed, or whatever, and this is my price, and then you can haggle from there. Then you're operating on the basis of full information on both sides. There is a meeting of the minds. It's when there isn't a meeting of the minds, and that's where slabbing helps. But there shouldn't be the onus, because going in what was done to the book. And that's why I really take exception to that. And I think that it should be, people should try to get over that and not just crucify beautiful books. I mean, for the people that are collecting them, like Alan, who's been collecting restored books for a long time. I mean, he saw it before I did. I mean, I didn't like it, but I basically went with the flow, and I avoided restored books. But I do have a couple restored books. One of them is one of the biggest books I have, which is a Batman 1. And it has an A3 restoration. And that's the other thing. There are varying degrees of what the restoration is. But back to the monsters. The bottom line is, and how I approach this, was that there are any number of Marvel monsters and you can find them still. And I think that if for some reason, if all of a sudden Marvel monsters take off, I just don't believe that there is a sufficient supply, like with Groot or with Fin Fang
Mm-hmm.
Foom. If the demand for those books takes off, they're gonna just be sucked up so quickly, because I just don't believe that the survival rate is that high. Even though their publication, the circulation was, there were numbers of books that were there. So I would recommend, knowing what, hopefully my soliloquy, my story here has sort of opened your eyes and shined some light on how the monsters fit in Marvel, and that the Hulk is the pinnacle of the Marvel
Okay.
monsters.
So just quickly, I'll give my 2 cents on the restoration thing quickly. I actually think the purple label is actually a good thing, believe it or not. I do like the idea of distinguishing that there is restoration. And I think
Meeting of the
that
minds. I mean, I'm with that. Meeting of the minds.
meeting of the
And that
minds.
removes all doubt. If it's slabbed, it removes all doubt.
The only thing that
Sure.
I would say, my qualifier to this all is that I don't believe that it should be the purple label of death in people's minds. I do think that this is actually an opportunity, if anything, for people that are like-minded with me, where restored books have been undervalued for a long time.
Forever.
And generally, they go up at a same percentage as the unrestored versions. So I think in the future, anyone that sort of said, "Hey, maybe I'll pick up a few restored books, high grade restored books," they might be big winners in the future because rather than it being worth a tenth of the value, if it's worth even a 20th of the value, you've done better than what the blue label did in that same time. Do you know what I mean? Because you're getting that percentage increase as well, but also the sense that those books have now been accepted, you're going to get that doubling or maybe even tripling of
I
the
agree.
value.
I do agree.
So
And I just think that I think that the when they introduced the purple label, and there was great angst that some copies that are blue labels now, all that from early on, because they thought that it was going to go to sleep, the CGC and some of the big dealers and big collectors, they said this purple label thing's going to kill us. And so what they were doing was they would put color touch or tear seals or something like that, and have
mhm.
it noted, but still a blue label. And there are books that have that, and but
Yeah,
those
no,
were
well, a
early
lot of
on.
the early golden age have that. More expensive golden age have that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I see that all the time actually, where it says a little bit of glue or a little, slight color touch and still be a blue label.
yeah.
Um, very, yeah, it's rules for the kind of thing. Um, but we got to wrap it up. Just before we go though, everyone that's watching, we got 45 people watching. Go over and vote for this channel 3 times. So I'm expecting 150-ish kind of votes. um, over on you got to go over to the link in the description. It's the CBCA Awards, and there's a big vote button. Click that vote button, look in the 1000 to 5000 tier, and vote for Comic Collector Geek for best unboxing, vote for Comic Collector Geek for best speculation, and vote for the Monday special Comic Collector Geek as well, for best ongoing series. So please do that for both of
That would
us.
be us. That would be us right here, the Monday special.
Mm-hmm.
We very
So
much
yeah.
appreciate you coming by. I kind of went shopping. I was because I really do. I felt strongly enough about them, and when I kind of put the thing together in my head, I said, before these things actually before these things really get out of hand and are become too dear, I figure that it's something I liken it to when the pulps are now being slabbed. That if you
Mm-hmm.
like pulps and you can find pulps that you like before they are slabbed and then more expensive, usually, then you basically do your shopping and go from there. And I think the Marvel Monsters are definitely a place that you. I think that there is a market for
They're
both.
undervalued right now. The Marvel monsters, they've been sort of overlooked for a long time, and
I'm
you
not trying
probably
to make them. I'm not trying to sell them. I just think that you should understand what they are and
and
how the
the
history works.
significance.
And if you like that kind of thing before something does happen, I recommend you get some in your collection because I think you would. They're so fun. They're of the era too.
Yeah, I mean
So
I did have Grotto as well. I did find couple
I
of
don't
them.
have Gratu.
Oh really?
Mm-mm.
Everybody has Grotto though.
Well, yeah, I shower. That's how I get rid of it.
I don't know. What was the other one I found? And this one.
I don't have that one either.
Yeah. So there was a couple I found as well. So again, thanks everyone for watching. Nighty night. Bye bye
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you very much.